Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of the A New Day show. And for those of you who have been supporting me on the show for a while, you know that occasionally I do what I call some teaching. My crew call it preaching. So to come to a compromise, we settle in the middle. And that's the day when I really don't have a guest in the studio with me, and I teach on a topic or subject matter that I find close to my heart. And today's topic will be bending with the wind. Bending with the wind. And it's going to be part 1 and 2 today. And you're probably thinking of the different winds that is going on in your life. As a matter of fact, prior to going live, the crew and I had a brief discussion about how strong the winds are. And the wind can go on and on and on, you know, from like today it was strong, yesterday it was strong. And they're so right, because as we all look in our lives, what can be considered as a mild wind for some people, to others, it can be a tornado. So, what I will be speaking on, I want for you to jot that down. Take what you can use and store away the rest for future use. And know that each and every one of us, our lives are unique. It doesn't mean that we cannot gather information from one source and another source and pool all that resource together and use it to our advantage. So, bending with the wind. And as an entrepreneur myself, there are lots of winds that we encounter. I know there are a lot of debates and a lot of media, newspaper article and other media documentaries and everything talking about the effect of the economy on entrepreneurship. So as we look at that, we could consider the recession or the bad economy to be a wind. But on the other side of the spectrum, there are so many millionaires and multimillionaires that are being created in this time. So there, you remember when I mentioned that what seems to be a mild wind for some people can be a tornado for others. It's all in our attitude and how we decide to, whether we are going to react or we're going to respond to what happened to us. So let us set one thing straight. And it is that life is a journey. It's not a destination. And for those of us who are in business, or whether you're working a corporate job or you're looking to advance in the job, know that there are no destination. So once you're going through that wind, you need to go to the drawing board and ask yourself, does this wind tell me something? Is it telling me something? Is it that the time here is completed? You know, everything comes in seasons. Just like we look in normal life, we have spring, summer, autumn, winter. We have different seasons, and especially for those who live in the United States, we have clear distinction of all these seasons. For those of us who were born and raised in the West Indies, we know we don't have all the experiences. It does not say we don't know about them. I recall as a child growing up in Jamaica when we would mix the white lime and we would use it to whitewash the stones up the walkway and around the garden and on the trunks of the trees. And when I came to the United States, I realized that we were making snow, right? So that just a little sidetrack off of what I'm talking about today. So as we look on the life journey, we start to look on different aspects of our lives. We look on our successes and failures. We look on the obstacles. We look on the opportunities. And the words that I am tossing out today, I'm doing that with an intention in mind. And this intention goes back to when I said, whether we look on the wind as a mild wind, or it is a tornado or a sudden, or a storm, a hurricane. When we look on the word conflict, failures, opportunity, and successes, there are a lot of people who sit around and they talk about, oh, well, you are lucky, or they are lucky, or she's lucky, or he's lucky. Not understanding that these people grab a hold of the opportunities that came their way. So there were times that they themselves encountered storms in their lives. Instead of toppling over, they decide to become a palm tree where they bend over, but they were able to flip back up. So you see what I'm showing here as an illustration. Bend over, flip back up. You notice the root is solid. And for people who live like in Florida where they get a lot of hurricanes and stuff, they can understand fully clear. They can really visualize what I'm illustrating here, because they know that for as many hurricanes that they have had and for as many roofs and houses that has abolished, broken down, they have never yet seen a palm tree that topple over. The palm tree doesn't lose leaves, it bends and twists, but it comes right back up. And as human beings, that's what we ought to use as a model for our lives. When the wind comes, and it will come, as I am talking now, I'm going through some winds in my life. So when I'm teaching this, it's not just for you, it's for me. And if you have not yet been in any wind, you are heading towards some wind. And you are now in a position to say, thank you for giving me these pieces of tools that I can be prepared when the wind comes. The one thing I want you to understand is that we have never arrived. We are always traveling. We are always on a journey. Because even for the people who are goal-oriented and they set goals and they set their intentions, a lot of times God has a different direction for us to travel. It doesn't mean that we are not going to arrive at that particular destination. However, he'll probably take us off on a little detour to teach us some lessons before we get back on the normal track. So understand that this life, and especially when we connect it to success, It's never a destination. It is a journey. Bend with the wind when they come your way, but never get rooted up. And if you throw in the towel, it means you root up. If you give up on that path that you're on, it means that you have been rooted up. Understand the importance of your belief. When the wind comes your way, and when it is strong and you are holding on, and even the things that you anchor yourself to, the wind is taking it up and it is becoming so strong and you don't know what to do. The one thing you cannot afford to do is to stop believing. You cannot afford to stop believing. You must keep believing in that which you know to be true. And that which you know to be true is right down inside of you, not up in your head, because our heads plays games with us. Everything that we have been told as children, and for some of us as women, it's up in here. So we have to know when to close this up here and to open what's down inside of you. So never stop believing. It doesn't matter what the wind is doing to you. Ask yourself the question, if this is a palm tree, what would it be doing? Yes, it would bend down, but it would soon kick back up. It bends down and it kicks back up. So believe in that which you know to be true, and that will most certainly help you to understand the importance of bending in the wind. We also need to be certain about the uncertainties in life. And you probably said, what do you mean by that? Although we set goals in our life, we grow up hearing that we must set goals in our lives. We pray for miracles. We meditate for miracles. We do all those things. However, when we are certain to understand that we do not have control over what is going to happen to us, we understand that all we can do is to bend when the time comes. Don't give up. Keep believing. You are certain that, listen, my daddy is in charge and he's not going to give up on me because I'm faithful. So although it is hurting me now, I'm going to bend as low as I can. But I know, because I am certain of the uncertainties, that I shall not be rooted up. For those of you who are Christian, you know you use the song that says, I shall not be moved. And it's the same thing. When we begin to bend in the wind, we know that for sure we will not topple over so long as we trust and believe in that which we know to be true. We have the power to create all things with our intentions. The Bible says we have not because we ask not. And I'm here to tell you that, God is not partial. Whether you go to church or not, and so long as you apply the universal laws, you will be rewarded and you will be compensated. You don't have to get super religious when you're thinking about becoming successful. You don't. A lot of us, we tend to get so religious and then all of a sudden we just lose it all. And instead of us prospering, we start tripping over ourselves. But if we understand that the wind of life is going to come, then we will be prepared for those winds, which will in turn allows us to create those things that we know that we were created for. So because for those of you who have been listening, many times you hear me speak on here about purpose and calling and all of that. And it is with those certainties of the uncertain that I can sit here and say, regardless of what wind come my way, you know, you might be looking for a contract and you go through many negotiations and you think you got it, you nail it down, and all of a sudden you get that call. And it said that, oh, we are sorry, but we have awarded the contract to somebody else. It might be a relationship that you're in, and everything is going wonderful and you're doing your part and it looks like everything, and then all of a sudden, bam, your mate announce, well, I want out. And if you're not yet married, if you're still dating, you say, whew, thank God. But for some people, they're married and there are kids involved. And they're wondering, I want to really bend here. I don't want to topple over. I don't want to root up because I have my children. I have the rest of the family. I am going to do that to hold the family together. Only you know what you can do. However, you can be doing your part and yet the other person does not want to do their part. It doesn't make you a bad person. You have to understand, well, that season was over. Now I'm ready to move into my next season. Lord, show me how to approach this and how can I go through. Remain strong for the rest of the family. Remain strong for the children. So it is very important to understand when you're fighting a losing battle. And however, because the other person moves on, doesn't mean that you are going to stop bending. Don't root up, because when you root up, that means you have nothing left and nothing to hold on to. You know that you and I, we were all created for greatness. A lot of times you hear me end this show by saying, do not settle for mediocrity, because you were created for excellence. You have the ability to create excellence. And it's the same thing here. Do not second guess yourself. God created each and every one of us to do something great. And as I study alongside many of the world leaders and visionary, everyone teaches that we were all created for a specific purpose and reason. One teacher as far went to say that the richest place on earth is not the countries with oil, it's not the countries with bauxite, but it's the graveyard, because there are lots and lots of human beings who died without manifesting or creating that which the Lord brought them on the earth for. And I'm here to tell you that I feel, it is my personal belief, that when we do not manifest that which we were created and called to do, it is an insult to our Creator. The talents and gifts that God give us, it is His gifts to us. his gifts to you and I. And when we use that which he created us, the gifts and the skills and the talents which he gave us, when we go out and we begin to manifest that which we were called for, it is, in return, our gifts to God. So, think about you giving a gift to someone, and you didn't really give it to them because you want something in return. However, as the relationship develop and go on, they in turn give you a gift back. And you would be so excited and appreciative. The first thing you would do is to embrace the person and say thank you. And it's the same way our Father feels when we go out there and we just use up that gift that he gave us. Now, the next thing we need to we need to understand that a lot of times we will not get the support that we need during those strong winds. However, those are the times when you need to invest in yourself. It could be to get a mentor who will support you, a coach, somebody who is a role model, someone that you believe in. Because you will need them during that time of strong wind. It might not be a best friend. It might not be a family member. But with the internet and everything at our fingertips, we can hire that which we need to get us to where we want to go. I want to also remind you that there are no straight road to success. It's winding, it's in the valley, it's up on the steep hill, it's a round curve, there are many precipices. However, just be cautious, do the right thing, follow your heart. Stay grounded to your belief in that which you're called for. And trust me, those wind, those tornadoes, those hurricanes, it will just go that, whew, it's just like a whiff of the wind. When you open your window, you know, you're probably by the ocean and you open your window and that little wind, that beautiful little wind just come through and you put your head again because you want to feel it. But know that on this time, when we are going through all these windy things, the people who are dear to us that we are thinking, yes, they'll be there for us, they love us. And it's not that they do not love you, they just don't want to see you hurt. But you got to show them that you have perseverance, that you can stand it, you can stand up after the wind. And you'll be surprised, years down the road, you will hear them repeat word for word about that time when you were going through those strong wind. It is important to enjoy the wind. Enjoy it. When the wind settles down, dissect it and take the lessons out that you have learned from there. You're going to find out that during those windy times, it helps to build our tolerance, our patience, our endurance, our perseverance. But if you root up during that time, you will never be able to develop any of those. So enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. Have fun with it. Enjoy the process. Do not give up. And connect in very important ways. For me, my faith is important. My spirituality is important. The people, your surroundings should be important to you. So this is why it is important to keep focus on that which you believe to be true. Because if not, you will expose yourself to those things that are damaging to you. Remember that when the wind comes, don't consider rooting up. Instead, you bend as low as you can. And I tell you, the more wind we encounter, the more flexible we become. So exercise, when the wind comes, you bend with it. You bend with it. Don't resist against it, because that which is rigid pops open, but that which is flexible bend. So you find every one of us, we have certain rhythms that we go through challenge with. Do you need some music when you're going through that bending? You find some upbeat music and you just bend with it. And for me, I know this too shall pass. This too shall pass. That is one of the certainties. And as we continue with part 2 of Bending with the Wind, I am going to go through some different attitudes that you can use to guide your journey and to know what you need to be focused on, because there are times when there are certain things that we get involved with that will root us up. Before you know it, it roots you up. So I just pray that there's something that you have got out of this, and it will help you to bend more flexible. And instead of rooting up and giving up on your goal, you will say, I am happy that I bend. I see you in part 2 of Bending with the Wind.